Hey, how you doing? This is Tom, and this is Tom's Radio Room Show. And I apologize for the shakiness. I wanted to give you a quick tour of my shack since I've been working on getting it organized. Now, it may not look like it's organized yet, but at least this section here, and let me back over and see if I can back up without tripping over something. Keep that out of the way. So I've kind of organized this side of my shack, and I now have the Realistic DX394. It was tuned to WWV at 5 megahertz. Over here, there's the two power supplies. Those are fixed output power supplies, basically 12 volts. Down here, I have one of my Uniden scanners. This one is programmed to monitor the amateur radio, no, excuse me, the NOAA weather satellites, which you can copy as a pass overhead and use some software to get some weather pictures. And this is, real time as a pass overhead pictures. I now have set up my ICOM IC706 Mark II-G. This is an amateur radio transceiver. I do have an amateur radio license. It will receive the shortwave bands, AM bands, the VHF bands, the UHF bands. So it's pretty versatile little transceiver. Makes a pretty good receiver, although the built-in speaker is tiny. So the audio is a little muffled if you try to use the built-in speaker, which is what I'm using right now. And right at the moment, sorry for the shakiness, I am monitoring the military band, or frequency, 11.175, which the Air Force uses to communicate with their aircraft that are out of range of a land-based transceiver. So I'm monitoring that right now. Over here is my mixer, where I can mix in either a radio or this microphone right here. And then right there is my contraption for one of my cameras for shooting straight down onto my bench. And then over here I have my new 23-inch Dell monitor. As you can see, it gives me a lot of screen space, so I can have several things running at one time. Over here I have Orbitron, which is tracking satellites, tracks weather satellites, tracks amateur radio satellites, military satellites, whatever you choose. And right now I've got it tracking the 3 NOAA weather satellites that are still operational, and waiting for one to come over my house so I can capture some weather pictures. And then in background here I have Echolink running. Echolink is a way of communicating with radios, amateur radios, throughout the world via your computer. But you have to have a license to do that, which I have. And then here is, of course, my webcam page. And then over here is another computer. This is a computer I've been experimenting with SDR software running on Linux, and in some cases running on Windows. So I have this one set up to dual boot into either Linux or Windows. And then down below it is a laptop, which I've got some software on it to control some SDRs. And then if we come around here, there's my Big Bertha Grundig Satellite 800, which I still do not have a good AC adapter for it. So because if you're trying to run it off of batteries, it'll eat batteries like like nothing. And I'm having to use my lab supply there, which I use for other things, to power this thing right now. And then down there is where I had the Realistic DX394, and I moved it over to the desk. Presently still there is my Uniden scanner. This one, it can be computer controlled. And then there's an antenna tuner, which is not hooked up right now. It was hooked up to the DX394. And then over here I have some more laptops. There's two stacked on top of each other. Again, they're mainly used for controlling SDRs. Now you ask yourself, why do I have so many computers controlling SDRs? Well, I have found that each different SDR, the setup is slightly different. And so if you switch SDRs, which I have about a dozen, you can mess up a setup that you had working. So now I'm using different laptops and computers for different SDRs. And unfortunately, I'm unorganized in that area. I don't know which computer works with which SDR. Another thing I need to organize. And then down here, this is an area that needs organizing. There's various stuff thrown in there, including my Texan PL680. And what else? A couple of tiny, real small laptops. Various other things. Anyway. And then, of course, I've got stuff piled everywhere. There's an aero antenna, which is used to work amateur radio satellites, a handheld deal. And then we have various radios. There's a Radio Shack DX200. Below that is a Helicrafter. I think it's a 110, I believe. And then it just gets ridiculous. Unfortunately, I can't move those big radios anymore. They're just too heavy for me. Stand by here, try to slow down here. I'm going too fast. There's another radio. I showed you that Collins radio a couple of shows ago. There's another Helicrafter up there. There's another workbench for repairing computers. More radios, more radios, more radios, more radios. Now you can see why I had to rent an off-site storage place, because I've got a lot of other radios that I just ran out of room. And that's another whole massive organization I've got to do. See what else there's, I keep complaining about my weak computer not being able to keep up. Well, there's the weak computer that's not able to keep up. It's actually a Omniplex 755. It's a dual core with 3 gigabytes of memory. But it quickly gets overwhelmed when I try to run several things on this computer at the same time and try to do a hangout. That's where I'm suffering, where my hangouts are suffering from dropouts because that computer gets maxed out. So I've got to work on that. And that's about it of the obvious things. And more junk down here under the desk. Those are connectors. And there's the other computer down under there, which is being displayed on this monitor here. Right now, I'm reading the ICOM manual because I have not used this ICOM 706 in ages, and it's fairly complex. A lot of functions, a lot of menus and submenus. And so I've been going back over the manual to figure out how to even do simple things. One thing that I've noticed in the past 2 days when I've been playing with this thing is if you use the built-in speaker, which is right here, this is a tiny speaker, about maybe 3 inches or 4 inches across. The audio is pretty muffled in that speaker. So I need to find an external speaker, maybe this one right here, to connect to that so that the sound isn't so bad. Or I can pipe it over to my mixer, and then I can use my computer speakers, which are buried down under the monitor right now. So you can see I'm kind of out of control. I did make some progress, and that was the only reason that I was going to do this video. Is I was proud that I did make some progress, even though there's a lot more work to go. So anyway, thanks for watching, and have a great day. Bye-bye.